Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras. Today it is a different session. Reflecting the samadhi day of Lalaji through his teachings. What better way can be when on this day we reflect his teachings and their relevance in present day also in the process of our transformation and inward journey. Is one of the most important teaching which forms the essence of transformation is to rise above narrowness, narrow identities, narrowness of religion, caste, creed, language, gender. It is a very comprehensive term that requires a deeper understanding in ourselves. As long as we are within the narrow boundaries, we cannot, you are sitting in your room in confinement, you cannot experience the sun rays, the air, the breeze, the rustling of the tree leaves. You will not be able to experience that. You have to come out of your narrow boundaries, narrow limit, your limitations to be cosmic, to be existential. Human body is composed of 5 elements. The earth element. In body, it is responsible for bones and muscles. Water is responsible for blood. Fire is responsible for heat. Air is responsible for our breath, and space is responsible for all these elements form the part of the cosmos, and you are a miniature cosmos, a representative micro. A drop is ocean. Do not consider yourself to be a drop alone. The effort is that drop must be oceanic. If for a single moment there was no air, would you be able to live? If your breath, your breath is your life, then the whole atmosphere is part of you. You cannot exist without it. So where does your body really end? Where is its limit? It is born out of earth. The bones and the muscles are formed from the earth element, and it ends up in that. Living in narrow boundaries means living in the mind. Mind is conditioned in a particular way. Mind gives the identity. It narrows down your identity. And that narrowing down is known as a specialization. During the time of Buddha, there were more than 1800 different schools of spiritual awareness, just as at the present moment we have different disciplines of medical science. What will happen if somebody has a tooth problem? He goes to a dentist, remains waiting for some time, and then finally he comes to know that this doctor is experienced not in the front teeth but the back teeth. He is expert, specialized in the left knee, not the right knee. This is a specialization that creates the division. Earlier on, if you want to get the medical, you go to your family physician and you get the medical report. Now you have to go to different physicians, experts, to get your complete medical report. Division is destructive. It narrows your perception, and with divisions you are bound to become identified with the mind. And in order for transformation, that identification with the mind is to be severed. This is taoshobuddha. Going beyond taoshobuddha is taoshobuddha, is the essence of truth. You think, and without thinking there can be no division. You think that you are American, you are Indian. For certain purposes it is important. For a certain purpose it is important that you have a male identity, but your real identity is not male but male-female togetherness. For purpose of understanding, the brain is divided into left and the right side. But for existential, for living on a day-to-day basis, can that division help you? Can that division help you to make instant decisions whether to choose this or that? For that, the harmony is important. Harmony between the opposites. Can magnetic field be developed with North Pole alone or South Pole alone? When there is harmony between North and the South Pole, the magnetic field is created. The gravitational force, the electric current, all the electrical appliances, you think you become identified with thinking, then you feel as if you possess the body. This is complete reversal of truth. Truth is, you were not born as mind, you were born with body. All that is important happens in the body. Blood, the digestion takes place in the body. Breathing happens through the body. All these things happen through the body. Even the blood, when it mixes with the oxygen and it is being carried to the brain for its functioning. For its own functioning, the brain is dependent on the body. Body can exist without brain. in a state of unconsciousness, when you are under the influence of anesthesia, the thinking is no more and you are still there in a state of sleep. So you have to understand this and know what is the significance of thinking, what is the importance of mind. When you want to make love, do you go to your computer? No, computer is important in its place. I am speaking to you through this live streaming. When you are listening to me in different parts of the world, in the comfort of your place, it is through the technology. But can you experience, can you make love through technology? You have to come down at the existential level where you have to interact. Only then the opposite poles are joined together. And if you are really one without opposite poles within, if you are really one without the opposite pole, you will be dead and dull. These two opposite poles, the body and mind, together give you life. Both are important. The north and the south pole is important, and what is more important is the synthesis of the two, is the harmony between the two. Harmony is not discarding one for the other, but understanding one. When you completely depend on one, then you are in narrowness. Yes, the world is beautiful because there are men and women. There are different citizens, different schools of transformation. There are different dishes. That is beauty. When you see the buffet organized with different dishes of color, taste, flavor, it gives beauty. But this is putting together, is going beyond narrowness. One of our friend who is an expert in culinary, she has blended different culinary styles and capable of teaching different styles. So there is a beauty when you have a buffet table, or you are teaching the people this unity in taste, unity in spiritual development, unity and oneness in life. When different dishes are put on the buffet table, it adds luster and beauty. And when you teach these different culinary styles or teachings, it is equally and even more significant and important. You are going beyond in narrowness. You may think that you are versatile. That is why you are giving these lessons. But to me, it is the union, the unity. You have brought different systems together into one's teaching. Your teaching includes different systems. It is unified. It is beyond narrowness. This is how the spiritual teachings supposed to be. It is a good example that you are incorporating different styles of cooking in your sessions, different styles of different types of the teachings into a spiritual transformation. And when you are eating one type of meal alone, then the satiation is of one kind, and when you are eating a balanced meal, it is a satiation of a different kind. To go beyond narrowness is the identification is one of the most important thing. You consider you are identified with the mind, then everything becomes false. You become unreal because identity is false. This has to be broken. To go beyond narrowness of caste, creed, nation, identity, on the basis of religion, on the basis of culture, different cultures put together. Now in this culinary style, different cooking cultures are put together. This is what fusion is as well, but that requires a tremendous understanding of different elements in the art of culinary. This process that breaks down this identity is known as Tantra Technique. As I mentioned, Tantra means not what you understand, but going beyond the body, going beyond the body-mind mechanism. And when you go beyond the body-mind mechanism, is that you are not identified with anything. When you are, let me give you an example with the cooking alone. When you are cooking a particular style, you are identified with this. And next dish when you cook, the cooking method is totally different combinations, you are identified with that. This is acceptable when I am speaking the Sufi path. I have to understand and know the rigors of Sufi path in its minutest details. When I am speaking the path of Buddha, I am identified with the minutest part. Buddha is not the name given to Gautam Buddha. Buddha was the state that happened to him. His name was Siddhartha Gautam, and he made the resolution. There was 1800 different schools of yoga practices at that time. He went, there was some which were very rigorous samana. He went into that also, where you do not accept food from each and everyone. So when in that state he lived on a grain of rice for 6 months, he became simply bones and skin. He came and He entered into Niranjana river, the river that has vanished from the surface of the earth now. But that time it was flowing. It was a stony river, maybe just even you can see the pebbles under the water. He fell in the river, but he did not leave his determination. He held on to a branch of the tree that was leaning from the other side. He remained for how long? It is said that he remained for long, but even in that state, even 2 minutes becomes a longer period of time. He came out of that river, sat under the tree, but there was determination in him. Whether I will attain to light or I will perish. Many challenges were there. And he even refused to accept food from anyone. The very tradition says when somebody is a monk or a sannyasi, people rush towards him with different meals and offer him foods, but Buddha refused. And he attained to awakening. The word Buddha comes from 2 syllables, Bu and Dha. Bu means intellect and Dha means beyond. Buddha is the one who has gone beyond intelligence. What does it mean? Beyond all the faculties that are responsible for intelligence, the mind, the conditionings. You learn and you remember certain things, like in the cooking, culinary art, or in anything you remember through the mind. Remembrance is part of the mind. It's gone beyond that. The Buddha is the one who has transcended his intelligence, the faculty. He is now cosmic. So this has to be broken. Tantra techniques are to break this identity with the mind, with the body. And why does the effort of Tantra is to make you headless? That is why there is a practice of meditation when you sit down and you place the mirror in such a way that your head is not visible. Uncentered, everywhere and nowhere. So then Buddha realized that he is nowhere and yet he is everywhere. So an astrologer happened to visit and he saw the footprints of Buddha. He realized that these footprints belonged to an emperor. When he reached the end of the footprints, he saw a monk sitting in meditation under a tree. He said, "Your footprints reveal that you are an emperor, but you are a recluse." He said, "I am an emperor." "But how you are emperor? When you are nothing, you are everything. When you own nothing, you own everything. That is what the very concept of zero is. Zero means empty. When you are empty, you are infinite. Zero That is why when zero was invented, it taught the calculation. Zero before prefix or suffix makes a different meaning. In the same way, when you attain, I have attained to the state of emptiness, nothingness, and that emptiness is infinite. I am empty within. When your pot is empty, only then something can be poured into it. If you put a full pot under this, in an open space, under the clouds, no water can be gathered into it because it is already full. It has to attain emptiness first before the master can pour something into you, before love can be poured into you. How you can be emptied? Because you are identified with the mind that I am this, I am that. I already know this. There are people who ask questions, and the moment you are trying to answer, their verbalization continues. They do not have the capacity to listen. Anytime when I post something, the immediate comment comes, which is part of ego. When Ouspensky went to Gurdjieff was not known then. Ouspensky was already well recognized. He has published certain books. He went in search of the miraculous, in search of that which cannot be learned. Gurdjieff gave him a piece of paper. It was a cold winter night, and told him to go in the adjoining room, and one side of the paper write all that you know, and on the other side you write all that you do not know. So all that you know we will not speak, we will not discuss. We will discuss only all that you do not know, so that time is not wasted. If you know this dish already, why are you asking me? If you know that this Lalaji is Yahak, you don't need me. You are already aware of all these things. Then why are you wasting your time in front of me? Or do you want to show that you also know? Then there is no opening, there is no channel, your doors are closed. You come to the class to go to a particular master, to a particular teacher, because you think the teacher knows more than you. Or if you think that you know all that teacher knows, then there is no need to go to him. Living in the mind is as if you are living in the mirror. In the night, if you go to the lake when the surface is tranquil, there are no ripples. The lake becomes like a mirror. You can see the reflection of the moon in the lake. But that moon that you are seeing is false. Mind simply reflects. The reflection comes from the real, but the reflection is not real. Mind is the reflecting phenomenon. That is why the whole process of spiritual transformation, in any process, is moving from the mind, from identities, from the narrow boundaries to the vast open sky. Going beyond narrowness means coming out of your narrow shells. You are visiting a particular city. You reached that city in the night when it is dark. You were carried to your place of stay hotel. Along the way you saw the city well lit. You reached to your hotel room. You are anxious to see outside, but it is cold and dark, you cannot see. So what you do, you go to the window and remove the curtain and try to look through the window, and through the window you get a framed view of the outside. So too with your identity, you look the limited view of totality. You look through the window, through the narrow boundaries, through the identities, the framed outside, framed existence which is vast. You see a framed image of that, which is false. It is the reflection in the mirror, or you take a photograph through the camera. You see a certain, whatever your camera can capture, that is what you are seeing. Then you come out of the window, you are under the sky, you can feel the cool breeze flowing, you can see the stars, the moons, the sky. You can see everything and you can enjoy the everything coming out of the narrow boundaries beyond. That is where you know what the existence is in reality. Existence is not the framed image that you see through the finite boundaries of your mind or your mirror or through the window, but now you are under the sky. When he said, "Betassubi sadakat ki jaan hai," to rise above narrowness is the essence of truth, is coming out of the narrow boundaries, coming out of the room where you are, coming out of the mind where you are, coming out of the identity that you are identified with your religion, identified with your national identity or your cultural identity or identity based on the color. You are limited. When you transcend, you feel a different kind of a joy, a blessing happening to you. The reflection comes from the real, but the reflection is not the real. Mind is just a reflecting phenomena that uses narrow boundaries, limitations. The reality is reflected in it, and you are happy that you have seen the moon. You are like the child who is aspiring, who wants to get moon, a little child. So what does the mother do? Mother puts a platter full of water and captures the limitation, captures the image of the moon into that platter, and the child feels happy that he is now playing with the moon, or he has captured the moon. He tries to run to hold it. So you are like that. Although you are grown up, but you are nothing more than a child who is trying, who is happy with the reflections. This is what Lalaji meant when he said that to rise above narrowness is the essence of truth. Betasubi. Tasu means narrow. Betasubi means beyond narrowness. Sadakat means truth. That which is. Jaan means the essence. Betasubi sadakat ki jaan hai. If you can rise beyond the narrowness, then you will move towards the reality, not the reflections of reality. So far our spiritual teachings or whatsoever it is the reflection of that which is real. Your love is the reflection of lovingness. Love is the energy that comes with the union within when the male and female elements in you are united or work in harmony with it. But you seek this in the false images, you seek in this and that in the outer world, but you are not seeking it is within the harmony, within the oneness. Oneness means beyond all narrowness. Harmony means when all the discordant elements are working together, only then there is illumination. The magnetic field is created when the current flows from the north to the south pole. When the two poles of the electric current unite with one another, neutralize one another, then there is illumination. An entire electrical world is based on this principle of synthesis, the union of the two. But the man thinks that in his own way he can experience the reality through the reflections. Reality is reflected, but reflection is not real. Love is not reflection. It is the union, it is the oneness, it is the harmony. Tantra teaches you. And if you get caught up in reflections, you will miss the reality completely. That is why with mind reflections, everything wavers. When you are identified with the part, when you are identified with the North Pole, you lose everything. A slight wave, a slight wind will disturb your mind, and that is what is happening to you. That is why you are in turmoil. What happens? What is chaos? What is stress? A slight wave, a slight wind has wavered your harmony, because it was not the harmony really, it was the reflection. Reality can never be disturbed. The moment the water is tranquil, the moment there is tranquility, you feel, oh, my spouse is the best loving person in the whole wide world. But the moment something happens, a wave comes in, there is a little flickering, everything is vanished. All that love has vanished. This is what happens in your so-called reflected love life. If you have experienced love as synthesis, as harmony within, then nothing can disturb you. No wave can disturb you, because you have known the reality. Reality is not disturbed, but the mind is disturbed by anything. Mind is the reflecting phenomena, and we are living in the mind. Mind creates narrowness. To go beyond the mind is coming in the open, vast space, experience oneness. The entire teaching of the spiritual development, the teaching of Tantra, is to come down, descend from your throne, come down from the heads, come down from your narrow boundaries, forget the reflections and move towards the reality. The essence of this teaching of Lalaji, condensed in this particular sutra, बेतासुबी सदाकत की जान है, is a journey from the throne down, moving from reflection to reality. You can sing lovely bhajans, or you can do arti or other rituals in front of the reflected image of Lalaji that you call his photograph. Sing bhajans, sing the sutra, betasvi sadakat ki jaan hai, but nothing transformation will happen. You are living in reflections. You do not have the courage or determination to come out of the narrow boundaries of your room where you are staying. The moment you come out, you come into reality, you move to reality, then you will experience what Lalaji really is. Lalaji is not the reflection of reality, reality is existential. Each master is that. But you have made an image of him. That is what we can do. And you ask me to explain something to you, but you are not ready. You are not ready to come down. It is like this: you want to make love, but you don't want to undress. Can it be possible that you can make love with your clothes on? You want to come to someone awakened, want to remain within your narrow boundaries, and you want to experience the vastness of the reality. You want to remain within the four walls of your narrow mind, and you want to experience the vastness of the Master, vastness, what Lalaji is, can never happen. You can remain in your reflection and be pleased with it. To know him after 91 years of his disappearance into the unknown, dissolution into the unknown and unknowable, the light shimmers more and more. But there are the priestly community of Lalaji who are satisfied with doing the rituals, and vast crowd moves to that. It is like the number of students coming to the primary school is much larger than the one who is doing his doctorate or PhD in a particular subject. There are selected number of students who come to do a PhD under a particular professor, but the number of primary school student is very vast. So are you satisfied with being a primary school student, coming to those, and there is a large number of such schools, each one of them carrying their own school without understanding the essence of Lalaji, or for that matter that of Buddha. Buddha did not create a religion. Buddha did not create a ritual. Lalaji did not create any ritual that this is to be done or that is to be done. Even at the time it was said that there is no photograph of Hazrat Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. We have a photograph. I have seen it. But of Abdul Ghani Khan, who was the fellow disciple of Maulana Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan, there is no photograph. It is said once somebody was taken a photograph of him without knowing him. He said the photograph will not come. And you want to be in the rituals, and you want to carry your own business. Buddhist, what goes on in a Buddhist monastery has nothing to do with Buddha. These people are not capable of giving a slightest sermon on Diamond Sutra or Heart Sutra, Prajna Paramita Hridayam Sutra, or Lalaji's Kamal Insani. They can simply take the words and do the arti and be pleased that they are celebrating the Samadhi day of Lalaji. On this particular day, reflecting the teachings of the Master, teachings of Buddha, what Buddha stands for. Buddha comes from two syllables, Bu and Tha. Buddha is not a name. It is an awakening that has come to an individual and he becomes a Buddha, awakened one. Bu means intellect, intelligence, and Tha means beyond. One who has gone beyond his intelligence and the narrowness. He has forgotten the narrow boundaries of the mind and is now standing under the open vast sky, feeling the breeze, the rustling of the tree leaves, the cold breeze surging through his ears, surging through his bones, and the sky, vast sky, full of stars and moon, shimmering in its glory, is the canopy. Only such an individual can give you a taste of the reality, taste of that which is, taste of the awakening, taste of light. What you see as light is a reflection of light, is a lighted object, but lighted object is not light. But when you say that light, the bulb is lit. One of the follower of who claims himself to be a disciple of Lalaji, and then his disciples, I had been when I was in India, they had the meditation session and he said, keep your eyes closed, sit down in meditation, and within a short while the light will appear. Oh, light will appear. What was done? How the light was appeared? The bulb was switched on, the light was switched on, light has come. And this is why you call yourself to be the disciple of Lalaji. But no, you are a primary school teacher who know nothing of the deeper aspects of it. And you are pleased with teaching the primary teachings. the rituals. No master preaches rituals. Buddha never did. Mahavir never did it. Zarathustra never did. Lao Tse, all he did, he laughed. He did not say that, do this, do that, and so, and you take the arti and do this. What the Hindu priest says, he will teach you to do Ganesh Utsav, to do this ritual, bring the milk, bring this, but does not know what does Ganesh symbolize. What is the essence of symbols? Why did Ganesh has the elephant head, not the human head? Why he has the ivory trunk, the teeth, one is broken, and if it was broken you throw it. Why he is holding the broken in his hand? That requires deep research into it. This requires, when you sit at the feet of the master, forgetting your ego, forgetting your narrowness, but all these so-called followers, they are teaching the reflections, the reflected glory. Only this much for this morning, until we meet again on another journey through the books. Sometimes I have to pause in order to take a particular window and through which take you under the vastness of the sky, vastness of the existence. Lalaji is one of that window through which I have tried to take you out, but whether you came out or not, dog's tail can never be straightened no matter how much you try to straighten it out. That is how the human mind is. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day. बेतासुबी सदाकत की जान है. बेतासुबी सदाकत की जान है. Only this much for this morning.